Thomas the Tank Engine Friends, the early years cheerleader miss. I will be ranking each episode of the series that were made by engineer number 1. Go check out his channel. Season 1, Episode 1, Harmon Learns a Lesson. I personally have to give it a B tier. It's a pretty good episode. Not the best, of course, but I'm still happy to have it that it started off the series. Season 1, Episode 2, New Friends and Faces. In my opinion, this is a A tier. It gave us a nice and clear introduction of Regaby and Tyler, and someone introduced us to Timothy, Nicholas, and Adam. Season 1, Episode 3, The Red Engine. In my opinion, this is the first S tier on the list. It utilizes Eagle in a unique way about him being somewhat teasing about how strong he once was and to having to go through and accepting that he's not as strong as he once was. It's a unique thing to do with a character like Eagle. Season 1, Episode 4, Keep Off the Tracks. In my opinion, I think this is a C tier. The episode itself is good and the story immortal. However, the thing I don't like is about how it basically feels like 2 episodes combined into one. Like, I think Colin feeling guilty about running over the sheep, that could have been like its own episode, and Emily coming to the railway could be its own episode about like helping Colin get through it. Like, again, it's a good episode. It's just I don't really like how it's like combined into how like 2 different plot lines are combined into one story. That's basically what I'm saying. Season 1, Episode 5, Adam Owns Up. In my opinion, this is a tier. It gives a clear character personality for Regaby, but also I don't kind of like how Adam is just kind of like, basically Adam just feels like he became a jerk for no reason. Because in like New Friends and Faces and even Keep Off the Tracks, he wasn't shown to be really aggressive. But in Adam Owns Up, he just feels like he came aggressive out of nowhere. But still, it's a nostalgic episode, so I couldn't place it in like B or C. Season 1, Episode 6, The Tale of Number 1 and Number 6. In my opinion, this is another A tier. It utilizes Timothy in a pretty good way. Them telling the story, like a backflash, and I always like episodes like that or stories like that. However, it's not really up in S tier, so I had to leave it down in A. Season 1, Episode 7, Thomas Pops In. In my opinion, I think this I have to put into the B tier. It introduces a lot more characters and kind of makes the whole like story feel somewhat confusing. Of like what characters are present, which characters are gone, and it feels a bit confusing, but it's still a great episode. Season 1, Episode 8, Edward and Colin. This is going into the B tier. It's another typical flashback story about Edward's past. And when we're done for stories like that, it kind of feels, expected. So, don't get me wrong, it's a good episode. It's just feels expected. I'm sorry, engineer number 1. Maintenance Impatience. This episode is going into the B tier as well. Again, it's a good episode and has a good moral, but again, the random character change / personality, it suffers the same quote-unquote problem with Adam Owns Up. where the personality they have in the video centered around them does not appear in like the episodes before then. Like in New Friends and Faces, Tyler was not shown to be impatient or anything. But however, in Impatience Maintenance, he's suddenly shown to be all impatient. And that's just kind of, if you're going to establish that, at least make it clear, like his debut episode when he first appears. Like, that's how I just feel like it should be done. A friend for Scarloey and Rheneas. In my opinion, this is a tier. We finally get an introduction of the Scarloey Railway, and it introduces Proteus in a pretty good way. Season 1, Episode 11, Fishing for Trouble. And this one's going into the S tier. Unlike, say, Maintenance Trouble, Maintenance Impatient, Fishing for Trouble feels more consistent with Rickaby's character, because he was already shown to be rude, and including him with the, I forget the other engine's name, but it feels unique, and it hints how in the episode Rickaby will be leading into trouble. And I think it's a very good ending to how it symbolizes that Rickaby might change. Henry's Wild Fire Escape, Season 2, Episode 1. In my opinion, this episode stands out the most. It's a very unique scenario, one that I have not seen before. Hence why it's going into the S tier, because it's so unique, it's memorable. Like, very memorable. A Streak of Blue, Season 2, Episode 2. I have to give this a B. It's just typical Streak of Blue adaptation, nothing too special. Spiteful Jester, Season 2, Episode 3. Similar to the Streak of Blue, it's just a typical Spiteful Jester adaptation, so this is also going into the B tier. Sodor and Mainland Engines, Season 2, Episode 4. In my opinion, this is a tier episode. It gives us more background on Neil and the Sodor and Mainland Railway in general. Adam, Lily, and Ghost. Our first spooky themed episode. And because I have a spot for Halloween/spooky episodes, it's going into the S tier. Furnace Railway Edward. In my opinion, this is another S tier. Again, it's one of those flashback stories, but I think, in my opinion, the crash was the most appealing about it. And Edward's character in it. Even though it's like the typical express engine personality, but you know. Old Foggies on Wheels. It's a pretty interesting story idea, and for that, I'll put it into the A tier. Special Days for Gordon. This is going into the A tier. Another typical flashback story about Gordon's past, and I like the bit where Gordon and Henry were confused. Gordon got mistaken for Henry by the firelighter. Emily the Express Engine, Season 2, Episode 8. It's a neat little spin on Emily's character, and for that, I have to put it in the A tier. Big Green Redemption, Season 2, Episode 10. In my opinion, this is another S-tier video. I'm all up for redemption stories, and I especially like how this one was portrayed out. 3 times unlucky. If I'm gonna be honest, this is a C-tier episode. I don't really like how Albert's portrayed in this episode, since up to this point, he has been said to be an old and he's portrayed as a wise engine, and seeing him going along with the idea of switching jobs with Tyler and Gerald feels like something the Albert and Sodor the early years would not do. Season 3, Episode 1, Timothy's Last Tale. This is a S-tier video. It gives a unique way of Timothy going out and taking Nicholas along with him. And it really shows how much Timothy's being pushed to his limit with having to do Neil's extra work, as well as 98462 and 87546's behavior. Season 3, Episode 2, Alfred vs. Eagle. In my opinion, this is A tier. It has a good moral about letting old grudges go, and it utilizes Alfred in a different way. Tourist, Season 3, Episode 2. This is another unique storyline and plot that I have not once seen, and for that reason, it's going in the S tier. Season 3, Episode 4, Unlucky Number 13. This is another A tier episode. Not only does it utilize 13 in a way, it also shows how affected Thomas was by Timothy's death. And I think it was well handled. Season 3, Episode 5, 13 Helps Out. In my opinion, this is another A tier. A part that I specifically like about this episode is the sequence where Nicholas charges at Gerald. It senses a way that Nicholas's ghost might be haunting the railway or Gerald. It could, and in future videos, if this series is expanded upon, it could lead to future stories about, well, Nicholas's ghost or Timothy's ghost even. Once in a Blue Mood. This episode is specifically where things were starting to change. And if I'm honest, I have to give it a B tier. Not because of the episode, but more of the timing. Because in all the episodes prior, Season 1, Season 2, after Henry was let out of the tunnel, or even before after Henry was let out of the tunnel and helped Gordon and Edward with the express, he was not shown to be repainted blue. However, in this episode, it said he got repainted blue after that same day when he got out of the tunnel. But clearly that was not the case, as in Season 2 episodes prior to that, Henry was still painted in green. Season 3, Episode 7, Lady of the Legend. Honestly, this episode feels somewhat out of place, but it's still a great episode. So, it will be going into the B tier. Season 3, Episode 8, The Great Train Robbery. Again, this episode is a fantastic one, but there's just one thing that I don't like about it, and it's the consistency again with Wilson's character. When Wilson first arrived, for up this point when Wilson arrived, It was not shown to have done anything for 98462 or 87546, like trapping Gordon in a sighting or anything like that. Now, it is a nice spin-off of having 98462 and 87546 returning, but again, saying that Wilson did all that trapped Gordon in a sighting when we never got to solve that just it doesn't sit with me right. It feels inconsistent with the character. Now, of course, being told that Wilson wasn't meant to come, that could have stayed hidden. But saying Wilson did all that, trapped Gordon in a sighting, and sabotaging other engines, it doesn't show that in any of the other episodes when Wilson arrived to the railway. And again, it makes me feel somewhat sad because it's a very great episode by all means, but the inconsistent of the character is not bringing me to somewhat dislike it. So this will be going into the A tier because it's still a great story. It's just the inconsistency of Wilson's character that I don't like. Season 3, Episode 9, An Engine of Sunshine. This is another pretty good episode, and I have to place it into the B tier. It's nothing like Alfred vs. Eagle 13 helps out, but it's still a good episode. Okay, anyway, here is a final overview of the whole entire tier list. Ending off, we have 8 episodes in the S tier, 11 episodes in the A tier, 9 episodes in the B tier, and 2 episodes in the C tier.